Mkturbo 1.6 update, and I think I'm done. It was messy and more complicated than I thought, and at least 50% of the time was just spent on Google looking up how this whole thing goes together. So I'm at the point now where I've started it, tuned for idle. It's probably still a little bit wrong, need to maybe add a bit more tune in there, but it seems good. There's some warm-ups are going okay. Warm start's done. So I'll sort of just show you what the bay looks like, some of the issues I've had, and some of the questions I googled that maybe it'll be able to help you out. So let's take a look. Intercooler piping. That was probably one of the biggest challenges. I just couldn't picture how it was all going to work. Some of the silicon joins I had were not the right size. There was, I think, two silicon pipes, maybe one that I was missing the right size of that I ordered separately. Not a big issue, but that's done. So I'll try and show you as best I can the intercooler run. So on the 1.6, this pipe, it's pretty obvious. It's got the system for idle controls still piped in. The air intake temperature is attached to this pipe, and it runs down and points off that away. Let's see if we can get a view down here. Okay, next up, I'm not quite sure if you can see it, but it's from that down pipe. There's a 90-degree silicon coupler onto the next hard pipe, which has a, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit on that, which has a coupler that's there for the wastegate. Okay, so you're on there, you have to attach a pipe that runs to the wastegate, and then it's hard pipe all the way through to the intercooler. Take a look at that intercooler. Looks good. Okay, from there, there's a downsize silicon join, takes us back onto the hard pipe, and that's like a 90-degree turn on that hard pipe to another silicon join. Then it comes up, and there was some little minor changes that were needed to make this fit. Okay, so cut off one of the arms that supports the fan, not a major issue, and then direct the pipe up, and then to the intercooler again, 90-degree size change in coupler. And this was one of the ones that I didn't have, so I had to purchase separately for this. Okay, and from there, there's currently a glove. Let's show you the intercooler pipe in, the intake pipe in. Which fits there and has a K&N intake that goes on the end there. That all fitted nicely. Well, it took a lot of messing around to try and get those to fit. That's out at the moment, as part of the joys of getting that routing in place was making some changes to the power steering. So this version's got AC and power steering, so I needed to repoint some of the pipes, and during the installation also had to kind of disconnect and reconnect some of the piping, and that meant on the low pressure side of the power steering pump I actually had to remove some pipes during the time, and that was actually okay. It wasn't a big deal. I have had a leak since I've put it back on, so I've been playing around with that today, just trying to get rid of that leak, and add an additional fastener just to try and tighten that up. It was a great time to actually refresh your power steering fluid, which is probably quite old on all of our cars. So that one went, again, it wasn't easy, but it was okay. The turbo itself and the manifold was actually fairly straightforward. We'll suggest that you do some test fits, clock the turbos, fix up the wastegate. For the wastegate from the MK Turbo kit, it was important that they send you, I think it was Fab 9 or something like that, wastegate, and it doesn't quite fit on the turbo, so you have to kind of cut the old bracket, which looks, the normal brackets look like that. It's little bone shaped pieces that follow the curve, and you chop the end off and use that end as a big washer to try and hold that in place. And you also need to open up the end of this wastegate, just chopping it off so it kind of slots in there, but it stays strong. Clock the turbo out of the car, so do a test fit, work out how you need it to be clocked, mark it up, take it off, put it back in your bench, tighten everything back up, and then fit it back in. Oil drain lines, or sorry, oil feed load on the top. I run it behind the engine, against the firewall on the back, and it just disappears off around there. And the drain line, as you can see, disappears off down there to the hole that got drilled in the oil pan. Fun fact, I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. I think I should have put the car up on ramps for this. I'd have had enough of the car on ramps. I'd have wanted it down for a while. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it under here. Okay, definitely not. So when I was installing the oil pan drain from the turbo, I was a little bit too high, and if you've got AC, that can be a problem because it gets in the way of the AC bracket. It was nothing a grinder couldn't fix, but again, it's just another step that makes things a little bit more awkward than it needs to be. It's fine right now. I'm quite happy with it. It seems to be staying dry. I've got to keep an eye on that, make sure there's no contact. Little tips then. Flying Miata guide, as she says, down like 2 inches, and when I was looking at it, I was thinking, that's really low, and I wanted it just a little bit higher, and I should have just gone with my with the information and gone low. I think I have a little bit of video on that, and we'll cut to that now. Just over 1.5 inches down, or about 4 centimeters from the lip of the lower lip of the oil pan, and like 1.5 inches in. If you see on the 1.6 oil pan, there's kind of a flat piece. I'm on like right in the middle of there. So I need more help on that. It's fucking horrible to do, but we did it, and now we've just got to go on with the tapping. I might clean up too. Okay, get on. So everything's been going to plan. Should be able to get it started again by hand. There's your threads looking good. And when you get to there, one, 2, 3, 4. And quarter back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter back. Test fit done. Fits good. Hopefully, I haven't gone too far. I'll put this bad boy up next. So there's some different suggestions about what you should use to hold this in. And some people would recommend the look at that, metal glue. I'm going to use a permanent thread sealer, high temp, because that's what the Car Passion channel did, and in case I've screwed anything up I can still take it out again. So I'm going to use that. Thread sealer loaded up. Not exactly sure how much to use, so I've been pretty liberal without going too crazy, I hope. Here we go. It's an MPT fitting, should start to thread up pretty quickly and then tighten up as you go along. Okay, pretty tight without being overly tight. Thread sealer should do its work for everything else. Okay, just had a lot of fun getting this to work. Okay, so where this was a little bit too high with the air conditioning bracket above, I wasn't able to put the oil drain connector on and do it up. So whip this bad boy off, not as easy as it looks, while leaving the air conditioning pump on, and with a grinder just took away like a little bit of metal. Did test fitting, we're all good. Bolted it all back up. I think we're in a good place right now to start reattaching all the bits down here and rebuilding them back up. That was not fun. Okay, welcome back. That was horrible, drilling the pan, but once it's done, it's done. Okay, you know, on the stock 1.6, there are the vacuum hose that loops around from this side of the throttle body around to the head. We obviously never want to have that seeing boost, so we've and by we I mean I have replaced that with a breather, and we've reused some of the holding positions, made on a little P-clip bracket which supports the boost pressure line that goes to the wastegate, so keeps it relatively tidy. We'll replace these lines as we go along with some red silicone ones. Just want to see how we get on. We'll replace them one at a time. Okay, there are vacuum and boost lines that go everywhere once you complete this project. Try and keep control of where everything's going. I tapped T into this back connector, and this one goes off to the Mega Squirt. From what I understand, the air is more stable back at this end of the throttle body, so I thought that was a good place for the Mega Squirt to see vacuum and boost. The front connector here, now this is meant to actually be fairly messy air this close to the throttle plate, but I've used it to go to the actual boost gauge, which is just there to give me peace of mind everything's going well. AEM boost gauge, because it's got a warning option, help me keep an eye on everything. What other problems do we have? Biggest issues, a little bit of heat protection. The brake system, from what I understand, it's going to get hot back here. I don't currently have a turbo blanket or anything like that, so everything's wrapped in this heat shielding that I can get hold of. I think boost turbo blanket will come as I get a bit more confident that I don't need to keep checking everything. The air intake temperature sensor, expanding that run. Probably should have run fresh wire from the Mega Squirt, but I wanted to use the existing connectors, so for that I've expanded them from the original plug. The plug's been clamped down to keep it in place, and the wire run across the front of the engine and into the AIT sensor. What else have we moved? And that was about it for the engine. Wasn't too bad. If I was a little bit more mechanically minded, I'm sure it would have been quite a bit quicker, a lot more straightforward. I'm seeing oil leaks from the car, nothing new, just tracking down at the moment power steering fluid leak from where I've disconnected and reconnected some of those lines, and keeping an eye on that. Doesn't seem to be any major problems, but it's definitely something to follow up on. Inside the car, still got the Innovate, I think it's MTXL Plus gauge, and now got an AEM boost gauge that's there to just keep everything, give you peace of mind that everything's running as it should. Helps if you know what you're looking for. I don't yet, but it's there so I can learn what that's all about. So today I've just been messing around with trying to track down a power steering fluid leak, and so I've just had the intake system taken out. I'll show you that while I'm here. So again, this is a 1.6, so position is going to vary. It's a really good fit at the back. I didn't have to touch anything at the back. In fact, I think from this manifold moving towards the back of the car a little bit more on the plate probably would have helped with everything I'm doing up the front. But again, keeping power steering and AC means that you're going to be a bit tight. So this was the result for what was needed for the air intake filter. Couldn't use my existing cone, there just wasn't enough room. So I got this K&M filter. I think I don't know if it's going to give us a model number. I don't think that's a model number. I think it's a part number. If you want to know what this model of this K&N air filter is, comes pre-oiled, just drop us a message. I'll get that sorted for you. So this was I think it's a 2" to 3", something like that. 90-degree silicone adapter, and I had to shave off again something on there to actually get this seal to actually fit where it'll make a difference, and fit well it does. That cone sits down there very nicely, doesn't contact with the hood. Does make fun and games for getting the clamp back on. So I'm just going to push that clamp all the way over first, then put the silicone in place. We're going to loosen that. It's a clamp. These clamps are excellent. That get supplied with a kit. Okay, pull the clamp back over, make sure your fit and finish is exactly where you want it, and then clamp up. These are 10mm bolts, and if you got one of these little amazing ratcheting spanners, this doesn't take too long. Okay, I'm just feeling around to make sure the silicone's all the way to the back. Definitely not the best intake, but it's the one that works right now. If I was going to do it again, hope that the turbo sat a little bit further back. This downpipe is beautiful. The whole exhaust system is fantastic. Once it's in place, looks beautiful. Sounds fantastic. No complaints there. So any issues with the kit itself didn't receive. Now this is filmed during the current COVID lockdown, so this probably isn't representative of what you'd normally get from Lars. Didn't get the correct 2.5-inch V-band. Not a major issue. Ordered my own. They would fit just fine. What else didn't I get? Yeah, silicone couplers. This one and the straight downsizing coupler that's on the intercooler, on the hot side of the intercooler, wasn't in the kit. But apart from that, again, there were other couplers, which is weird. So if there's another way to do it, I just didn't know it. So let's say that's not a point against MK to have that, but most likely a point against me for not knowing what I'm doing. I've gone from a speedy EFI ECU to I've gone from a speedy EFI ECU to a Megasquirt ECU, Megasquirt 3 Plug and Play Pro. And can I just say that the Speedy EFI, although excellent, the Megasquirt 3 Plug and Play is wonderful. It's already preset for idle up on AC, which is something you have to do and manually solder onto the board for the Speedy EFI, which I was quite surprised with. That was nice. The only downside I did see was I've got a variable throttle position sensor, and to add a variable throttle position sensor onto Megasquirt, you have to insert a jumper onto the board, and the kit, the Megasquirt system itself doesn't come with any of those jumpers. So small caveat to DL Auto Tune: a bag with 1 or 2 of those jumpers for if there is a chance they're going to be needed would be nice, rather than having to order separately. Minus thing, I was fortunate I had some old IT equipment that I could use it from, so we didn't have to worry too much about that. But that was all good. Yeah, MK Turbo kit installed. First start was just fine. In fact, first start was perfect. Warm starts I had to make some adjustments to, but apart from that, she's been good. So next on for me is some additional tuning. Currently, say she's tuned for sitting in the driveway and running, but she's not tuned for a lot else. I'm going to finish diagnosing the power steering fluid leak, and then I can get on with tuning it for driving. So thanks Lars, thanks MK Turbo, and thank you for watching. Hopefully we get some footage of her driving once the weather's a little bit better. We won't be going far. We don't want to cause any problems during this lockdown, but we might be able to drive around the block. Anywhere we can push her back without having to involve anyone else will be fine. So thanks for watching. Oh, and we need a heat shield for here. Think about that, people. I think there are some nice bolt positions that we can use. So I think I need to pick up maybe some light steel or some aluminium to build something that's going to help us keep the heat away from this. The backside of this filter is going to be open to a lot of hot air, so we can just do the shield that stands off the back of here. We'll look into that. Again, thanks for watching, and welcome to the MK Turbo 1.6.